All right, I'm here with Chad Nixon, the president of McFarland-Johnson. Chad has 20 years of airport planning experience, and Chris Kopec. Chris is MJ's director of facilities and is currently leading our COVID response team. Chad, let's start with you as far as planning and from an employment perspective. What's important for our airports to know right now relative to COVID?
Yeah, Chris and I have talked about this quite a bit. It's really about getting people back into airports, getting them comfortable, getting on airplanes. There's some money that has been distributed through the CARES Act, and that's kept a lot of airports solvent, but that's a short-term solution. Really, we have to get those people back into airports. So from a planning perspective, we look at the financial side of things and what's happening with forecasts. So on the financial side of things, we have created a suite of dynamic planning tools, and many of our airports are already using those. The thought process was that they would look at different scenarios. So you could look at an increase in enplanements from new service, or an increase from enplanements from low-cost carriers or legacy service, whatever that might be, or a reduction, frankly, if you had some reduced flights. So with the pandemic, we now see that it's almost zero. Some of our airports have lost 90+% of their enplanements, and that's just not tenable. So what we're allowing those folks to do is come in and build their own scenarios in there that show recovery over a period of time. And I'll show you what I'm talking about on the computer here. To respond to Ruthanne's question, these are some of the areas that are really important to look at. So we were able to build some custom scenarios within our dynamic planning solution here, as well as load in some built-in scenarios. So you can quickly see what occurs at your enplanements at this particular airport, a significant reduction, and then we show a period of recovery over about 5 years. So it can be different for any airport, obviously. Then we also look at the revenues, your user defined. So you're taking a real dip there in the revenues here, and you look at your expenses over your baseline. One of the things importantly to point out here is your cost per enplanement. So as you have that significant reduction in enplanements, your cost per enplanement is going up to cover those costs over all of the expenses that you have. So as you're out there trying to retain or grow your service, you're also dealing with that cost per enplanement issue. This then rolls into the forecasting side of the house. So this is more just a tabular version of some of those charts we looked at, but it'll allow you to take a quick look at the deviation from one year to the next during that time. So in 2020, you're looking at a very significant deviation off of your baseline, 45%, and then just the year before recovery within this scenario, we're looking at about 5.5%. And then, of course, on the financial side, a pretty significant period of time before you see that return to recovery. And you can look at things like cost for employment here. You can also look at elements such as your PFCs. So pretty powerful stuff. We can load any sort of scenarios into here, whatever's appropriate, for that particular airport.
Clear we need to get passengers back in the airport. So Chris, from a facilities perspective, how can we do that? How do the airports get passengers back?
Well, the passenger really needs to have a renewed sense of confidence in the safety of air travel, specifically as it relates to the risk of infectious disease transmission. So I believe the speed and effectiveness with which that passenger confidence can be restored will have a direct impact on the industry's ability not only to recover, but to thrive. So at McFarland-Johnson, we've implemented a mitigation plan that's effective, visible, and adaptive in nature. It concentrates on the passenger experience, providing a healthier and safer experience as the passenger travels throughout the terminal. We believe the strategies associated with the mitigation plan, in addition to an effective marketing strategy by the airport, will accelerate the passenger return to air travel.
Although the overall challenge for airports is universal, each airport, and specifically regional airports, are unique regarding their own particular needs, constraints, resources, and priorities. Refinement of the general mitigation strategies specific to each airport is encouraged, as is collaboration with key airline, agency, and tenant partners to maximize the plan effectiveness. So how do we do this? Through proven, visible, and effective technologies that provide a safer terminal, through communication by marketing the steps taken to both the public and airlines to encourage return to air travel and minimize airline service reductions, and through reminding the traveling public that local airports are inherently safer for their travel plans over larger international airports. The mitigation plan is broken into multiple groups. There's short-term strategies, things you should be doing now, including physical distancing, an increase in physical barriers, and increased cleaning and sanitation. Medium term, I see this in the next 3 months to a year. These include HVAC solutions, including increased filtration, increased ventilation, ultraviolet airstream treatment, building pressurization strategies, and implementation of touchless technologies. And the longer term, these are more in the 1 to 3 year range. These are having dedicated areas for health screening, temperature and mask detection integrated into your security system, and technologies that are currently under development, such as biometric screening and health passports. We firmly believe incorporating these proven technologies in combination with an effective marketing strategy on the part of the airport will accelerate passenger return to air travel.
It's important for planning and engineering to work together. Is there anything else airports can be doing right now?
I think Chris mentioned on the marketing side, all these things are important for us to do, but a lot of the very effective things, as Chris mentioned, are behind the scenes. So if nobody knows about them, it's not going to make them feel safer. They're not going to understand that technology. So it's really important that we engage the public from a community engagement standpoint, the region, as well as our elected officials, so that they understand what the airport's doing to increase safety and security. And I think from a marketing perspective, that's really important.
Great. So who can airports contact for any of these solutions?
Airports can contact me. My information is on the screen.
Well, thank you for reviewing these tools with us today.
Thanks.